Welcome back. Here we are, winter time. Not a lot going on. I figured I'd do a little series because fishing history is pretty big, important to me. And so I'm just going to go back over some of the things that made me, my story. This is kind of a look back series of the stuff that made me, me. Um, as I've said before, I've had these journals forever. I kind of just looked through them. I'm going to go back over a tournament from a long time ago. My second tournament I ever did as a co-angler. I got these old memories to help me out. Pretty crazy looking back. My first tournament I ever fished was 1998 on Minnetonka. It was the KFN something. Here you go. Here's what I wrote on Lake Minnetonka. Very good. I can remember, I think I was 18. I would have been 18, almost 18. I would have been 17. I had to go and talk to John Hesse because I was 17 years old. He hadn't heard of me, none of that. I can't remember how I even got the idea to join, asked to be in this tournament, but I did. So I had to go in there, and the place is so nostalgic, like you would back that time ago. Like Smoky, it's got all kinds of trophies and other stuff in there, and it was very intimidating. I can remember I'm talking about lures and what I would do, and I just remember breaking it down like I was in class for school or something. And at the end, he's like, "I think you'll be fine, but I don't want you to tie a fisherman's knot. You got to tie a Palomar and learn it." I remember that for a crazy part, it's a long time ago in 1998 when that happened. Before I turned 18, when you're 18, you didn't have to do something like that. So that was my first tournament ever. And then going into, even after getting that, the one on Minnetonka was that bad, I went back and I figured I had to sign up for to be a co-angler. Back in the day, Silverados were the deal around here, Pro-Am tournament, and 8 fish. And so I signed up all of them for $19.99. And so leading up to the tournament, the first one was Long Lake, Wisconsin. I can't remember how much I'd even fished in Wisconsin, but I remember I had to get a license. It was a cold May. I pre-fished 2 days for it, it looks like. They didn't go there. I had really, really bad rain gear on. I got paired with Scott Bonema, and that basically made the rest of my fishing why I love the sport so much. I was obviously ate up at the time, just looking back at my old memos. It's just crazy looking at breaking down lakes, the breakdown of everything, how crazy I was into it. And here's me just going back over the old footage from the 1999 Silverado. Kind of a Minnesota history, my take on things, and it's what made me, me now.
Best take on the Silverado.
Starts off with this
challenging 5-tournament series.
Intro.
Professional bass anglers are paired
Probably
with an
better than I
amateur
could
angler.
do even now.
Together, they challenge all comers for a one-day shootout to find out who is the best of the best on the Silverado Pro Bass Tour.
Hi,
Here's
I'm
John
John Hesse,
Hesse,
Tournament
yeah.
Director of Silverado Pro Bass Tour. This is our 6th year doing bass events all over the heartland. We're on Long Lake in Wisconsin. We got some bad weather moving in here. We got some rain and some sleet and some cold weather. Gary, what do you think? How's that going to affect them fish?
Hi, I'm Gary Borchard, Assistant Tournament Director, and I'll tell you, this lake up here has a ton of smallmouth bass in it. The largemouth bass have already spawned. They're going to be out in the deeper water, but with the field of fishermen that we have, we're going to have a big bag, and they're going to have a good time.
Stay tuned, because we're going to interview some anglers, and we're going to get right out to the action on the water. We're going to see some big fish caught.
Boom, ripping. That old school boat.
The 6th year of the Silverado Pro Bass Tour opens up, as in past years, at Reel Inn Resort on beautiful Long Lake near Rice Lake, Wisconsin.
6th year. Wow.
The Long Lake event is the first of 4 qualifying tournaments. Also up for grabs is the title of Angler of the Year and 2 spots in the prestigious Millennium Tournament held at Florida's Cypress Gardens. Returning to defend his title is 1998 Angler of the Year,
I think
Paul
actually
Newman.
I went and saw Paul do a seminar before this year in 1998 at the end or the beginning of the year. So it's funny looking back. He looks way young looking here back here. But can't imagine me being in the crowd for that. I had to be real young, but
well, the Millennium Tournament's a tournament for Ranger owners. You have to have a Ranger that's 96 or newer, and then there's qualifying spots and tournament trails all over the country. The Silverado has 2 spots, which will be Angler of the Year and 2nd place in points. So in order to make it this year, and then it's going to be like about $1 million purse for in the tournament. So it's a pretty big deal.
I'm telling you that there is a lot of good young fishermen coming up, and they not only know what we learned years ago, but they know what they know, so that makes them doubly tough.
Ted Capra, basically a Minnesota legend, rest in peace. Definitely a information getter, trying to get, I can remember, you know, I've had some success along the days, and we finally won the 2-day one up here in our hometown. Me and my buddy Rick did, and can remember Ted, how'd you get him? Went right in on me as to how we caught him, you know, and he still remembered me after that and was still trying to figure out how we caught him. Yeah, you know, being your friend, but I was never gonna give up anything on that. Even now, I don't think I would if he was around. I'm sure he found out from enough people what we were doing at that time, but yeah, definitely that was always his tactic. You want to know how you're catching them and to learn better. So, quite a fisherman. Back.
Young anglers, both pro and am, are the future of fishing. And no one knows this better than tournament director John Hesse, who originated the junior amateur program 3 years ago. This year, 13 youths, 17 and under, are sponsored by JWA and KFAN Radio.
Couldn't be more excited to be fishing in a tournament with so many great anglers.
I'm real nervous, you know, my first real big tournament.
Kind of cool thing that old junior am deal back then. There's, you know, some fantastic fishermen now. Kyle Schuda, Fighter, Seth Fighter, obviously. Couple, I know there's some other guys in there that I'm missing out that fished in that. So, unreal coming along.
In this
back
Pro-Am
then.
event,
Linda.
the Silverado pros are paired with amateurs through a random drawing. Pro and Am fish as a team, and the total weight counts for both anglers.
All right, Mike.
Look at that trolling motor, the old school.
I'll show you how I want you to
lightning
throw it.
Dakota.
Here we go, watch. Fire it out as far as you can. We're just gonna fan cast the area. And then
Just to stop it right here, I can just remember jerk baits, you know. I obviously hadn't been around a super long time, but I just remember jerk baits coming on. Real, had to be around this time of the year. So you can see how intense everyone is and big rips and all that stuff. Not quite what you see nowadays, but here's Paul's little tutorial. Definitely back in this days when you got an amateur and stuff, like the pros took some time with the amateurs to let them know exactly what they were doing, because they I don't think practiced with them. Look at how aggressive that jerk.
snap it. Use slack line and just snap it.
Climb
Tournament's
up,
a
your arms
8-fish
to 'em.
limit. We're allowed smallmouth or largemouth. They limit. There's one, Mike. That one's too small. Size limit's 14 inches. That's not going to make it. Great. Smallmouth? Yeah. Measure that one. I'll get you the board. Nice job, buddy. No, he's an inch short.
Look at that graph.
After a short
wow,
break.
That's crazy. Just that tiny little graph mounted on there.
Step back,
And
everybody
Scott.
step back. We
Just
caught
got
quite a
the
few
little graph
fish.
on there. That's
What
a
I'm
brand
doing
new
is throwing
Ranger.
a large rogue, the largest one you could get. Basically just throwing it out there. It's a suspending model. So you cast it out there,
Just how hard he's
reel it
ripping
down
that
about
thing.
8-10 times so it gets to about the 5-6 foot depth, and that's about where it stays. You let it pause for a second, and you just give it a couple really hard jerks, like that. There's another one. Yep, I net. This is a good one. Stay on, girl.
Finally in the back of the boat with my old school.
Step back.
Ranger.
Everybody step back. I'm gonna flip her in.
$30 rain gear. Boom, in the boat.
This one's gonna...
So, look at that. Scott won't even trust me. The camera guy's in there. He's just flipping them in the boat at that time. But, good story with that. We'd pulled up on this point, and we were actually like jerk baiting. It was a wind-blown point, and jerk baiting off of it. You can see how he's ripping it. I remember at the end of our day, our arms were tired. But Scott, obviously, big-time Minnesota, huge class act. I can just remember just how confidence, how he could speak and all that stuff just right away in the morning. That it was just like, put your head, in my mind, I was like, put your head down and just try to do what you can do behind this guy. And I can't remember if I grabbed a jerkbait from him in the morning. I'm sure I had a bunch of junky stuff or something like that. But you can just tell from my rain gear right there. But the camera boat came on us at the right time, that's for sure.
I don't know about this one.
It's me. Yay!
All right. It's a little one, but 14 inches are still great. That's a nice one.
Look at this.
Easy. She missed me. Came in to get you. Up,
Scott's all, you can tell he wasn't happy there. Man, he just stabbed that one. Got real
High
lucky.
fives.
Look at that. Old
All right,
school
buddy.
hockey jerk.
That
I'm
was
probably
great.
so scared. But I finally got one. All the old equipment that I was using.
Mark Raveling and Dean
Back at the time, you can even hear,
Oh my goodness.
like, I couldn't believe how big of a bag of smallmouth this
I
was
can tell
back
you
at
when
the
you look
time,
at
but
this
this is
bag,
an
sir,
8-fish
we're going to show
limit.
you these fish too. Some change in the lead, and I'll guarantee this bag's going bigger now. What do you got?
28 pounds.
Oh, at 28.40, you owe me $4. All right,
Unreal.
hold them up for these guys. Gary, you grab a couple. This is about the biggest stringer we've
All
had here in 3
smallmouth,
years.
too. Unreal.
For now, with only a few teams left
Looks
to
like,
weigh
oh,
in,
there's a largemouth.
Scott Barnema and Dave Sickenender are the last challenge to Raveling.
Get my name
Holy
right?
balls, he's on
Unreal.
these smallies big time. What are we at? 20, 28, 40 for the lead, and Newman is sitting 18-24. He should be legally second. And you keep going over by my scale. You know you don't get to do that, Scott. What do you got?
Ooh.
1965.
Look at me, I just
1965.
look
That should take you to
stoned,
second
not
place.
know what to do.
Let's hear it for him, gentlemen.
Led by Mark Raveling and Dean Nalesny, here are the
Look at
top
that.
15
We ended up
finishers
second
at long
place. $1,000. Unreal. I'll just let it roll for a minute. Ward, Taylor, Allenson went to school with me up at St. Cloud State. Definitely a good dude. Lee Ranston, sure, Dreyhouse. Wow, this is like one of the ones that started it. Like, I had been fishing in a league, a 12-fish league, which is unheard of now before this. And this was, I think we'd fished maybe some other money tournaments out on Big Marine. You know, you can see the equipment we're using back then, but this is really what started everything. I can remember my parents came to most of the stuff after this. It was unreal. The first thing I did with my $1,000, got new rain gear after this tournament. I got some Cabela's ones, and I can remember kind of being the first one of the people I hung out with that had a decent pair of rain gear. Back then it was the Cabela's ones, and it lasted for a pretty good amount of time, but that one really drove it. It's a pretty special one. It's pretty cool to see Scott now. I guess I've never really talked to him again about it. You know, I was pretty young at the time, but thought we had a monster bag back then, but 8 for 19 pounds is like nothing. It's crazy how far along we've come. But this is the kind of tournaments that made me. It's, you know, I think I just graduated high school. I was working. You can see I went out there for 2 days practicing, I think, over the weekends going up to that. And being there for that whole deal, who knows how much I even said to Scott. You'd have to ask Scott how the recollection was. I'm sure that I was scared as all heck going in there, but people ask me how I have these videos. You have no clue as how crazy I was at this point, just ate up with fishing, that I've watched some of these videos so many times back in the day. Like, I don't know, 20 times probably, that I kept watching them over and over again, analyzing what people are doing, what bank I thought they were on. And this is the one that started it. And unreal. It's cool to see it back. It's cool to see a bunch of the people that are there. Sad to see some of the people that aren't, like Hesse, definitely, like I would say, to me, like the tournament fishing circuit. I don't know. I know when I came in '99, I thought he was kind of for that couple of years then, he was the guy that was doing the biggest tournaments around here. So just going to his shop when I thought just felt surreal to me, going to there and the Capras, the smell of everything. Very cool feeling. So thanks for watching, and there'll be another one to come. I hope you liked it. I sure did.